Hi, this is Real World Audio. It's János, and now I'm doing a little reflection on mono. I've received a lot of comments on the latest mono episode that I made, and I'm just going to read the comments and give my answers for them. It's much better than me just typing away. And Hugo said he commented that his grandfather preferred mono over stereo, and he was a violin player, an audiophile, and he worked in research and development for vacuum tubes. And my grandfather, he was also a musician, and he also preferred mono quite a bit to stereo. He said that it sounds much more correct than stereo, and it's much you can get better tonality out of a out of a mono recording than out of a stereo one, and also the timing is better. And towards the end of his life, he listened to a mono transistor radio. It was a Blaupunkt radio, and it had a full range driver in it, a very tiny one. I think it was just maybe a 5-inch or a 4-inch driver, really small. So there was no noticeable frequency extension on it, but it sounded quite amazing. I never heard portable radios sound like that, and he just listened on it quietly, and he was perfectly satisfied. He didn't want anything more. Edward's comment is that he says that he noticed that improving his system, the enjoyment of mono records goes up notably. And that's what I experienced too, that you really need a very, I would say, refined or well-built or well-put together audio system to enjoy mono recordings. And I think that's one of the best ways to measure how far you have come on the audio road, is that when you put on a good mono record, can you enjoy it, or does it leave you wanting a lot? If your enjoyment of an average to good mono record is really down compared to an average to good stereo record, then your system is doing a lot of processing that creates a high-end or hype-end sound. And it might be really catchy, it might be doing really fantastic things, but it does transformations to the music to make it sound very flashy. And when you give it a mono recording, those flashinesses, they work opposite. You will see that you will experience that the mono recordings just poop out with that. It will show that it's not doing right. But when you are going to a direction to make your system sound more natural, more lifelike, more balanced, then your mono experience will start to climb and skyrocket. And Edward says that a single speaker has a very natural sound propagation at the cost of the wall of sound from two speakers. And yes, so that's an experience. No matter how good or stereo is, mono has a better integrity of sound than any stereo can ever have. And one trick about that is that if you don't have a perfect room, so if you have issues with your room, acoustic problems, then you can make it work much better with mono compared to stereo. So that's another thing, that if you have a room that you think it's hopeless for stereo, you can still make it work very well for mono. And the reason for that is because mono was recorded from a single point source, and that can be reproduced even in a bedroom acoustics without major issues. When we are reproducing 2-point sources, then we have so many reflections in the room that it makes it the complete nonsense, complete garbage for the ears. But if the source was only a single point for mono, then even loads of reflections, uh, the ear can still make out decent sound, decent thing from that. What else? Let's look at Gabor's comment. I'm not sure we should mystify mono recordings for the technology itself. I agree. Don't. And I hope that's not how my video sounded. I do not want to add any layer of mystery or anything around mono. The technology is itself is not something that's really at the heart of the matter. For me, the most important thing is that mono is the only way that can take us back to 1950 and earlier. And for me, it's not the technology that really matters, how we record something, how we put something into recorded media, but who we are recording. And before 1950, the way people performed, the way they sang, the integrity, what was in their heart was so radically different that what came after that, that's the problem. It's not the technology that changed, and it's not because of the technology that I would say I prefer mono over stereo. If I want a deepest listening session, and I want to get the deepest experience one can have by listening to music, it's not because mono is technologically better than stereo. A very well done stereo recording, I think, can achieve more than mono could have achieved. But what I have found from all recorded media is that today all of those singers we have, all of those performers we have, no matter how good they are, there was something 3 generations ago that is gone from the world today. We have now changed to a technological world where our prime experience is technology. And in my grandfather's time, when he was young, I had many of his stories. How was it for him to grow up? And even how it was for my father to grow up. They grew up in a completely different universe. And that universe was totally centered on nature. So, for example, when my grandfather, the one who was the musician, he was a child, then in the summer, when school was out, in the summer vacation, him and his brothers and his friends, they went out and camped in the wilderness. And they just built a tree house for themselves, like 20 kilometers away from their parents, just somewhere in the middle of the woods, in the middle of a swampy area. And then they lived by themselves for 3 months, entirely self-sustaining, far away from civilization. And for example, for them to just walk 10 miles for something, it was not an issue, not a problem. And they were totally used to that. And it's just a completely different universe where people were in balance with their surroundings, with life. And this is what is lost today. And it is reflected in the music we make. I think That is the number one thing why I recommend the old mono recordings, and this is it. That's it for me, and this is my ultimate recommendation. And I think for today, if we are recording something, let's do it in stereo. We have just so much learned since that we can now do good justice recording in stereo when we record new music. And as most people have stereo setups, it's the best format today to record. But if you want to experience something, you can experience something with mono that you can't experience with stereo, because stereo was not around in the 1930s. And so I think that that's it for me. And when I'm looking at the comments, what people are commenting, those who have reached this stage in their audio life that they are able to enjoy mono records, I suspect that this is the big thing for you as well. That's the big thing. The magic is not mono, it's the people who were recorded in mono, that life that was gone. And to me, I am a culture historian. That's one of my hobbies. It's been way before audio, so that's been with me since I was 7-8 years old. um, uh, and it's we as human species, we don't realize how much we change over time. And in less than a century, there has been an outrageous change in mankind. And when you have a system that can deliver these mono recordings faithfully, that's the time when we realize that mankind is not a static thing. It's an evolution, it's a change. And it's not about whether that era was better than our era. There were some things that were better then, and other things are better today. And that's what the duality of mono and stereo recordings teaches us, that we gained something, but whenever we gain something, we lose something else. And a lot of this cannot be put into words. I'm trying to put these things into words. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I'm not that good with it, and that's because now when I'm recording these videos, this is the first time I'm trying to put these feelings, these experiences that I have into words. So that's why sometimes it takes me a couple of videos, and also your comments to reflect upon, uh, uh, to 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 kind of like give a reflection of what it is for me to experience these things. And Frank has really deep comments, because he has very deep experiences with audio. And I think his comment receives, I mean, deserves a video just by itself. So thank you everyone for commenting. Thank you for your wonderful comments, and please like, subscribe, and have an amazing day. Bye bye.